The advent of modern agricultural farming practices has brought with it a lot of health challenges. It seems the larger we go, the more we produce, the more we interfere with the process of nature, the more nature interferes with us, or at least gives us some feedback that there was a reason why things were made the way they were. And so many people have turned to organic food. But do you know what it takes to build up an organic farm and then to have it run as a business? Today's story of phenomenal women in STEM, in service, and in business is all about exactly that. Organic farming, but in a way that is not just great for our health, but also great for the farms itself. Hi, my name is ReneeSense, and you're watching Makeda, stories of phenomenal women in STEM, in service, and in business. And today I have the privilege of interviewing Tekhiyah Joseph. Now, Tekhiyah's got an incredibly amazing story because you run a commercial farm that is wholly organic and that you promote eating organic. In fact, dare I say that it's not just a promotion, it is almost a religion.
Definitely a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
Definitely a lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what inspired this as a lifestyle? Were you always sort of all your life you were conscious about eating organic, about growing organic, about being close to the earth?
No, not at all. I've been vegan for like 22 years. And so it's been even to become a vegan, it was a process, you know. But I think to take it back, even maybe 10 years before I became a vegan, there was this small voice just saying you need to be vegan, you know, and it just got louder and louder, and you know, it's a journey, because you have to look at things from a completely different point of view. You have to learn, you meet people come in your path as teachers, and so you're learning from all these different people, because like spirit has you on a certain path, because that voice is there saying, no, move this way, you know. And so I really just listened to that, and it's been a gradual unfoldment, you know, like I said, to, you know, even to becoming vegan. And then from there, it just continued and continued. My husband, he is an organic farmer. Well, he started out as an organic farmer, a musician, and, you know, I think through his work, that's how we came to be here. But so the organic thing has always been there because of his influence. We weren't always there, but as we created our own garden and increased our nutrition and understood more and more about food. My background is as a naturopath, and so obviously how you live and how that affects your health and well-being, all of that has always been important, and so we're always seeking, you know, to improve on that, you know, because again, in health, it's stages. You take things in stages and you see the improvement. You might stay there for a while, and then your body almost tells you, okay, we're ready for the next level. You know, that's if you're tuned in. Most people are not tuned into that. But as a healer, that's something that is been part of my spirit, you know. And so, you know, it's a merging of the healing and the elements that create healing, which is why the organic movement, and understanding how that impacts health and how that impacts the environment, how that impacts the region, much less the greater continent, you know. So it's definitely a journey.
First, I love that you've spoken about how for you, it's a question of being in tune with spirit.
Yes.
And you're right, so very many people have no idea what that entails.
Right.
How do you get in tune so you know to listen to your body, to listen to your environment, to listen for the next stage, to listen for when to become vegan?
Right.
How How did you learn to distinguish that voice?
I think it really just got, for me, it really just got louder. And
It was always there?
I don't know that it was always there, but I think just a series of events made you, things happen in your life that put you in a position where you can't do anything but listen. You know, I had a traumatic accident, and so I was just in bed in the hospital, you know, and so there's certain questions that come when you're in life and death situations. There's certain questions that just come to mind, that when you ask those questions, something else opens. It's like open sesame in a way. It's like a secret code word that opens, gives you access to something else, you know. And I think my life changed from asking certain questions when I couldn't do anything else but think about healing, you know, or not that I was even that conscious that that's what it was maybe at that time, but from there I think I was just shown that, okay, your life's going to change and this is how it's going to be, and it's like, okay, you know, and it really just unfolded. It was nothing forced, it was nothing, but I just saw that things worked when I did certain things. It's like blessings came, or things just worked, things were just easier. And so, you know, I have friends that always tease me that, you know, if I eat something and I'm like, oh, too much sugar, or my nose would itch, or it's like my body would talk to me, and I paid attention to that. And so, but people would laugh at me. They would say, oh, there she goes again, you know, you know, with her sensitivities, you know. But it was those kind of things that made me aware that I had to eat less wheat, or less sugar, or cut out meat, or those things, because I just listened to how my body responded to those things. And because I don't want to have stomachache. So if something's giving me a stomachache, then I'm like, okay, that's what that was. I'm not eating it. Yeah. And so that's what it's really been. And I think because, like I said, that voice that was encouraging me to change, by the time I met my husband, he was vegan, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is only about to get much easier for me, you know. And so then it did, and then it felt like I'd always been like that, because it just, after I was shown a few things, it was like, I get it, you know. And it just really unfolded from there. And obviously, like I was saying, because of his enthusiasm for farming and wanting to get in the soil, and so, you know, I reluctantly kind of followed him. I was like, yeah, I want a garden, kind of, you know. But like I said, as I learned more, eventually as we moved here, and some of the things that weren't available to us that I'd got used to eating, I'm like, oh, I need some more salads. I need more variety in salads. I think I'm ready for my garden now, you know. So I think that's where it started, you know, and I planted certain herbs that I wanted to use, and I planted certain types, different varieties of lettuce, or, you know, salad greens I could use as baby greens, and that's really where it started, you know. And because I just couldn't find what I was looking for. There is a lot of food here, but there were certain things that I wanted that, you know, and that's how my kitchen garden got started.
Tekhiyah, it's one thing to start a kitchen garden. It's quite another to become a supplier of organic fruit and vegetables to a wider community. How do you take it from kitchen garden to supplier?
Well, because my husband is an organic consultant, you know, that's how we came here. So where we live on a farm, it's a training center. And so an outshoot of the training center is that, you know, because I had the garden, it became a feature of when people would come for tours, then they would see my garden, and then they would be inspired. I'm like, yeah, I have space to do this. And then they would see the bigger farm, and then they get inspired to say, okay, yeah, this is doable. Wow, you know, now I know what to do with my land or whatever. But because we provide training for organic farmers, up and coming, whether they're already doing it or whether they are just starting out in a new project, you know, we provide training for that at the farm where I am. And how it became into supplying on that level is, there was a few friends, Kenyan friends that I have, we visited each other's farms. And I was planning a vegan lunch at the time. And so one of them asked me, well, can I, instead of you just giving us all this food every time we come, can I buy it? You know, can I, like, because I told them this idea that I'd had about having a basket that, you know, they're like, I'll buy it. So then one of them gave me a challenge saying, have some baskets ready for the luncheon. So I did. I had a few baskets and they sold. And then the ones that didn't buy said, can I get it next week? So it's like, sure. And basically, that's how it started about 2 years ago.
It's interesting how a lot of women-led businesses are based on what people want. You know, so there's this process of almost getting feedback from those who are closest to you, and, but almost like a proof of concept and all of those sort of big jargony words that big business throws in, but which is very practically done.
Yes, and it's networking. It's purely through networking that it's really developed, and it's been nice and slow and nice and steady and manageable, you know, at this point, you know, and I'm really like in awe because I never saw that myself, you know. It wasn't something I'd set out to do, but as it got awakened, it's like, why not, you know? And maybe my husband knew, because I'm like, oh, these beds are a bit big. It's just, you know, I don't need that much space. But I think maybe because he understands the business that much more, he's like, don't worry, you know, just put more food in there, you know. And so, as you say, it's a commercial business, but I purchase from the farm, basically, and put together what, you know, what's available, you know, and that's what goes out every week.
How do you convince people to become organic? Because there is a cost to it.
Yeah.
How do you convince them that it's better for them to eat this way as opposed to that way? To be mindful of where their food is coming from and to choose organic?
Right. You know, I think with the rise in cases of cancer and things like that in Kenya, it's really just tripled, quadrupled in such a short space of time, the incidences. And when you think of, you know, what's the most common source of where people can get sick, it's food. You know, it starts with food. Health starts with food. You know, health starts in the gut, you know. And it's how our ability to digest, to assimilate, to absorb the nutrients, you know, that lays the foundation of health, you know. And so if that source is from a adulterated source, so then it's got too much agrochemicals or poor water sources influencing that growth of that plant, you know. And plants is where we get all our nutrients from at the end of the day. It's where we get our vitamins, where we get the more colourful and more variety our food, the colour of our food is, the more nutrients we are giving to our bodies, you know. So, and so as we digest that, we're taking in anything that's influenced that plant, you know.
Yes, it's coming in with it.
Yeah. And so whether it's nurtured well or not nurtured well, you know, from the water, you know, one of the questions I ask him in my workshops is, you know, what does the seed need to grow? You know, what does it take from a seed to become to a plant, and what are the correlations between what you need to grow? And it's exactly the same thing. You need sunshine, you need water, you need minerals. We need exactly the same thing to be healthy. But you need a quality. It needs to be quality. It needs to be cleanest water. It needs to be the cleanest nutrients, you know, to furnish health in the body, you know. And yeah, so that's.
Will we ever all go organic?
I think it would, for the food security, for health, for sustainability, it's a must.
It's a must.
It's a must. Yeah. And again, we speak about applying ancient wisdom. These are ancient wisdoms, you know. We can use modern technology with using drip irrigation or greenhouses, but the ancient wisdom is the soil knows to give it, nurture the soil, and then it will last forever, you know. But if you kill the soil, we kill ourselves, and then what, you know? So we have to, it has to be sustainable. You know, it has to be a sustainable cycle, a life cycle. It is about life.
Does organic farming make money?
It has the potential to. I can't say that we are really making money yet. It's still very early in the game. You know, I know, you know, some of my husband's clients have done very, very well. You know, I think for us, we're still at our early stages. You know,
you're how old now?
I think we're just 2 years into it, yeah. And so we're still early, we're still balancing a lot of things out. You know, there are so many other factors that that are part of the whole process. I just have this small part in that, you know, I'm able to share the fruits of our labour on another scale. But you know, but it's but that's the plan, you know, to encourage people to raise the awareness of the impacts of what going organic, again, using that ancient wisdom. We had it before. Yeah. It's just bringing it forward again and knowing what works for us, you know. Those are the things that are really important, you know. And those are the securities that we need, you know, that we understand that we need to plant our own food, you know. We need to know where our food is coming from. We need to know that we can eat food that we can trust, you know, to secure our children's health, you know, our whole community's health, you know. It's a whole life cycle. It's a complete life cycle.
There are cycles that we do not think about. When we talk about you have nothing if you don't have health, think about this. In Kenya, as in most African countries, you are one major illness away from complete bankruptcy for yourself and for your family, because we don't have a healthcare system, a public healthcare system that supports us. But if you think, what if you spent the same amount of money that you would for those illnesses in ensuring that it never happens, that you had, or you sourced your food from places that you knew, that we didn't kill our soils, that we were food secure, and that we had a sustainable agriculture that would take us beyond where we are, so that our children would also be able to find fertile soils. And what if, like Tekhiyah Joseph suggests, it not only makes sense, it makes money, which kind of kills the argument that organic doesn't pay. What if we could live differently? What if? Tekhiyah, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for your insights.
Thank you too.
As always, you can find more information on Tekhiyah Joseph and on every one of the ladies who we are interviewing in the link below. Also, we've got 104 women to interview in the course of 1 year. We would love to know who you know, a phenomenal woman in STEM, in service, in business, that we can interview, because this year, it's all about telling the stories of the women who are making a difference from wherever it is that they are and however they're doing it. Thank you as always to Ole Sereni for hosting us. And thank you for watching. Please subscribe below and we'll see you soon.